Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SimAirport with me, Bigfoot. Today in episode number 13. I cannot believe we have made it all the way to episode number 13. I mean, I always knew we were going to get to episode number 13, but it's just crazy the progress and the difference compared to my first season on this game when I played in Sandbox. It's very much been quite a difference, I guess you can say. Now, there's a few things we need to start off this episode by addressing. First of all, I have a Discord, which is really cool, so link is down in the description below. Come along and join us there. Turning our attention to the game, I did record this episode and all the way up to episode 16, but it was recording with the wrong microphone and I didn't realise this, so I'm re-recording. So if I do things very quickly and don't think about them, it's because I've already thought about them, if that makes much sense. And then also I might get a tiny bit confused in what I've done already and what I need to do, so I've got a clear vision of what I want to do and we're going to talk about that vision now. So what we need to do next is build a second runway. That's very important. That's going to go down the side here. Then what we need to do is we need to go ahead and get this next gate into operation, gate B2. As we discovered in the last episode, we're having an issue with hunger, and more specifically to do with the actual individual retail stands. If we jump into objects here in retail, stuff like bars, dessert kiosks, these are actually not working right now, and the game developers are not prioritizing that as a fix, which is unfortunate. They've got a performance patch coming out, which, I mean, performance, yeah, that's also great, and it is the higher priority, don't get me wrong, it really is, but it is meaning that we're going to have to supplement our passengers' hunger by just adding a lot more restaurants. So right now we need to, realistically this airport will need about 5 or 6, so a lot more than we probably would have originally had, to be honest. But I think now we've got to the stage where, or I have anyway, that I've got to the stage of building the restaurants really quickly and efficiently now. It is not too big of an issue. At the end of the last episode we did have a bit of a nightmare where I was like filling up this restaurant really of furniture, and I didn't put any, I only put in these chairs here, fancy chairs D, whereas I needed cafe chairs, but instead of replacing all the chairs I just put a few cafe chairs like in a waiting area at the entrance, and it solved all my problems, which was great. Then on top of that, we really just need to go ahead and plan out the rest of the airport, so really start to fill in this area here. And what I'm going to do is, I think we will run this series. Originally it was supposed to be scheduled for 15 episodes. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near done in the next 3 episodes. So we'll continue going until we fill up this map. I can go ahead and, if I want to, unlock the research for land expansion. However, I don't also want the series to just get repeated or repeatable. That's not the word either. What is the word? I don't want the series to... I always want to be doing new stuff, and when it gets to the stage that I'm just repeating myself, that's when I really want to end the series, to be honest. Unless there's a big uproar and people want me to build a massive airport. Right now it's probably just going to be this one terminal finger, but we do still have a lot of work to do. And then on top of that as well, I'm also limited by performance. As we can see right now, I'm on ×2 speed, but playing on ×3 speed and with building going on, it can really start to affect the frame rate. So that is something we definitely need to be aware of as well. Then on the system side of things, we need to extend the baggage system a bit as well, but that'll come when we get more gates into action, and that's not a top priority, but that is something for the future. So that was a lot of information at once, and I do apologise, but you can sort of vision with really where I'm going, and I guess as we go on we'll get into a little bit more detail. There has been quite a few things that have changed since the last episode, the biggest one being my cash stack. I've let the game run for a period of time. Right now we've played this game, or the save, for over 12 hours, which is quite remarkable. So I've not, obviously individual episodes are, what, give or take 30 to 40 minutes, they should be around the 30 mark. And I've recorded, this is episode 13, so right now I've got basically an hour of playing has given me about 30 to 40 minutes of content, which sounds about right because the time I actually load up the game and start recording and all this stuff, usually that takes a bit of time, and as well, just to generate cash as well, which is vitally important. The reason I let the game run and go into the positive with cash is because I didn't want this series to turn into, I guess, I wanted it to stay like career mode. I didn't want it to become a sandbox because there is no restrictions if you go under your balance, which again, there must be some broken code there right now, which is unfortunate. But I didn't want it to land up that way, so again, I really do want to stick to positive cash just where possible, in all honesty. How are we doing in general on the daily cash flow? I did spend quite a bit of money on day 92, hence why the expenses are quite high, but if you look at days 88, 89, 90, 91, and I guess 93 as well, these are typical days in the airport. So right now we're bringing in about 332,000 a day, roughly about 325k, and then we're expensing about, yeah, it's about 200k a day to be honest. So all in all, we're making just over 100k a day in profit, which is good to see. Then on top of that, minor changes down on this floor here, and again we're going to continue to do a bit of work, but upstairs is where the most significant changes have happened. Just a little bit more detail into places, which is good. And then I've also gone ahead and prepared it for getting gate B2 into action, which is one of today's plans. I've also done some building expansion, and this is where some new areas will go as we go on. I think our restaurant's probably going to go in around here, and then I'm not really at all sure, to be honest. Actually, it's just that we'll just see how it goes. We've got a lot on our list to do, so I guess let's just get round to building. We are going to start off by getting this gate into action though, and also just doing some expansion here. So if I go down here, I want to see where I can expand this down to, for that matter. Problem is I've not built the taxiway yet there though. Right, we're going to start to expand this anyway down to this corner here, because this is where the cross section's going to be, because there's probably going to be a gate here in all honesty. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to leave that there for now. I'm just making sure my measurements are correct, which they are. So what we're going to do is we're going to expand into this area here, and this is going to be used for the queue for gate B2. And then from there we'll go ahead and I guess just add to that and do the same upstairs as well. When we get to building in more gates again, we'll look at the expansion of this corner here. And I think from what I did in my previous episodes of this before I recorded with the wrong microphone, was that I added in a restaurant because I had room down here, which is good. That does remind me actually, I mean you can even tell the performance issues right now are just all over the place, it's terrible. So we'll slow the game down a bit. What I have done is I actually have hired in 2 more workmen, and I'm going to bring it up to 10, so I've now doubled the workmen. That was something again that I really didn't want to do in this series, but when building occurs the performance drops drastically. So instead of really shooting myself in the foot by going ahead and being able to do nothing while construction work is going on, I can at least still do something, which is kind of useful. What I was going to say was, as time goes on, we'll see how the airport pans out. I mean, I imagine we'll have maybe 3 gates along here. Then what's going to happen is this area is all going to expand out here, and then we're also going to need a standby gate, which I think could go in this corner up here quite usefully. Though again, I'm not really at all sure if that will be the best place. We'll have to have a think about that as time goes on. What I do want to do though is I want to go ahead and add in a small taxiway just from there to there, just making this sort of like a small turning circle, if you will. So it means if planes have to get past each other, they don't have to come over here, which is super useful indeed. And then we're going to build a new runway, hopefully later on in this episode as well. We're going to need to, for getting this gate into action, because we're getting to the stage where the runway is chock-a-block right now, and it is time for an upgrade. The only downside is that this second runway will be smaller, so not all planes will be able to use it, but at least we'll have 2 options, and it means small planes can use either or, and the big planes, which arguably we don't have a lot right now, will be restricted to just the runway at the top here. Okay, so they're finished building downstairs, so what we will do is we'll come along and let's get this expansion into there like so. And while this is going on, we will start to go ahead and build up this area as well. So what we're going to need to do is, we are going to have to make changes up here actually, that's inevitable. We're going to have to change that queue here just in front of us here. It's going to have to go up more against the wall, but originally when we decided to start building this wasn't really in the plans. Gonna have to slow the game down even more because the performance, even just building floors, is being quite difficult right now. So this will run down to here and that will join up there. What we can also do upstairs here is build ourselves a door like so, and let's get ourselves in our magic carpet as well, which is perfect. So we'll add that in there, and then we can pretty much do the same along here while all this destruction takes place. Hopefully it can happen at a tiny bit faster rate. This is again why I've got more builders in. And I've also just reminded myself of something else I need to do, so lots of stuff going on in my brain right now, to be honest, just getting ready for... Really, I feel we are slowly starting to wrap things up. But the thing I was thinking about is I want to go ahead and double up this road as well. So for that we're going to need research, and we're going to need... What do we need? We need multi-lane access, which we've got, which is good. So also I have a feeling that we want to start on advanced security. We're just going to start on a few things. We might as well try and complete all the research now, so let's go ahead and go for it. So, advanced security and advanced ticketing. Again, costing us a bit of money, but we have the money to spend right now, which is good. And all this work is going on now, which is great. Let me now go ahead and just finish off that there. Put the game back into ×2, and let's also clear out this wall as well. While that goes on upstairs, we can start on downstairs as well. So, all just simultaneous right now, which is perfect. So let's go ahead and clear that wall there, and then we can start off with some wonderful queues. Excitement, excitement. Let's actually quickly get the desks in here for the time being, and that will also require some extra staff, which we have very much been caught out with before, and no doubt I will again in the future as well. Also hire 2 ramp agents just in case aircraft gets stuck, because I landed up running into 1 or 2 issues about planes getting stuck, hence why I added in this taxiway at like the start of the episode. I'll not go into it too much, but it did take me 10 minutes to realise I don't have any ramp agents, and that I was in a bit of a situation anyway. Okay, so back to queues. Wonderful queues. I really do hope that queues maybe do change one day, because I still feel it's really inefficient to draw it this way. And saying that though, I've got so used to it with this game that I know I'm just terribly bad at it, and there we go again for example, but it is very fidgety. Good news is though, is that today is the anniversary of Airport CEO, and it was on discount, and somehow I've not actually bought the game yet, so I went ahead and I bought the game, which is good. So that game will be on this channel. I don't know when though, because we've got Transport Fever and City Skylines. These 2 games are going to start up again after I finish off this series, and also another Brick in the Mall, which are running pretty much simultaneously right now. Then after that, I'll then start to think about other games, but I mean, I don't know what sort of time frame they're gonna go for. I expect them to be quite long series, to be honest, just because they're quite long games, you know. Transport Fever, that series probably only has about 10, 15, 20 episodes left in it, but I mean, if I play a good City Skyline series, I want that to probably push up to 50 episodes if possible, which hopefully a lot of people like the sound of. And then on top of that, we are going back to daily uploads as well, so I can get through a lot more compared to what I previously did anyway, which is also quite exciting. And again, time will tell on all of the progress there. Okay, so with that taking its time, I feel we can go ahead and actually start to do a bit more planning in the rest of the airport as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to clear out this whole wall here, which is a bit unnecessary. Then we're going to... I do want another restaurant in here, to be honest. I think it's a good use of just filling the space, to be honest. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a corridor come down here like so. And then what we'll do is we'll not leave that wall quite there. I think we could leave this bottom wall here, but we're going to install a wall along... Yeah, let's do that along here. Finding this quite weird actually, why I've left so much room. There shouldn't be... I've done my tiling wrong here in general, which isn't good. What we can do is we can make this 3 wide though, that's not a problem at all. But what we'll do is the restaurant will be bound by these walls here. So this restaurant, going to be quite a large restaurant again actually. By the time I get my kitchen in there, you know, it will all make up or take up some room, shall I say. So that's exciting, and that's another job which can be dealt with. As we can finally see, there's a bit more work going on up here, which is good. Let's go ahead and clear that while we're at it, and then let's also get in some more carpets there. Let's fill out what we've got going on over here. I just don't want the airport to look like a construction site anymore, and that's one of the reasons why I did a tiny bit of detailing off camera in between this and the last episode, just because it was just looking a mess, and I don't want it to look like that, in all honesty. So they've got their instructions over there. How are we getting on downstairs? We're getting on really well, in fact, actually, which is good. And all the builders come along now, which is perfect as well. Can we get... that desk is in action, which is good, so we can assign that to you, and then we can assign this desk to this queue here. And then if we could go ahead and increase priority on that there, then we can get the downstairs of B2 all sorted, which is good. I also want to go ahead and we're going to start work on the runway right now as well, because that's something which again is going to take a while and also requires a lot of input too. I realise we're doing a lot of things at once right now, and as I said, I've done a lot of this stuff, so I know what I want to do. So we'll get that runway in there. Again, I think this runway length is only 14, so it's really short compared to the other runway. It will not be able to take extra large planes like we've got at these large gates here. It will be limited to basically planes that use gates 1 to 5, which is unfortunate. But again, unless I go ahead and do an actual map expansion, I don't really have much other choice, to be honest. It's just how it is going to be. I could possibly make it one longer actually. I realise a bit of a taxiway inefficiency there, but I couldn't change it at the top, so I'm actually quite intrigued. Will it actually make much difference? Because, we'll leave it for now, I'm sure it's fine. I don't think there is a difference between 14 and 15 anyway. I know there's a difference between, I think it's 17 and 18 with runway length and just what planes you can get on the runway, but again, if someone knows actually really what the differences are in length of runways with different planes, then please go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section below. Okay, so this is perfect now, so we can go ahead and do the final tedious task, which is to go ahead and assign you to you. Let's go ahead and get in our queue here, and what I want to do is I want to get this gate into action this episode as well, because it is another revenue source. As we said at the start of the episode, we are making, you know, give or take 100,000 an episode, but I want to go, or a day should I say, but I really do want to go ahead and increase that where possible. So let me assign you to you, and then let's also assign you to you, and let's assign... Perfect, right, so that's all of downstairs now sorted, and I think the gate's now actually in action, which is good as well. But before we do anything, we will, because I've missed the cut-off, midnight is just past unfortunately, what I will do is I will sort out the upstairs while we're at it here. So let's go ahead and grab 2 more desks. I do feel I'm getting quite fast at this now, to be fair, but again, I've done it so often. Right, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to split this area, because we need to sort out that queue there. So what we'll do is we'll expand you along to there, and this side will be a shorter queue. And then what we'll have is we'll have a longer queue on the other side. What I need to do here is pretty much just run this right back to there. Keep the actual queue itself, because it's already assigned to all the gates, which is good. And then let's build that round there. And then into there like so. Can extend that by, what, maybe 2 as well. And there we go, that's perfect, like so. Then finally we can go ahead and build our final remaining queue, and hopefully our last queue for a while, because before we actually open up any new gates, we need to improve the infrastructure, the size of security. We need to go ahead and work on customer satisfaction, because right now in general it's not great. Arguably, yes, it's 2 AM, so now is a bad time to sample, but it still needs to improve all round. Okay, so let's assign to these 2 gates. Let's assign these 2 gates to these 2 queues, and then we are now good to go. So let's jump into our flight manifest here. Let's make this a tiny bit bigger for ourselves, and let's go ahead and see what we've got in terms of large flights. And we have a fair amount here actually, which is exciting. What I'm going to do is, there's already a few gaps in there for small planes as well, which we could plug. But right now I think we're okay, to be honest. We can get 6 large flights in, I feel, per day. So let's see what we can do. Rex Ikana. Let's go ahead and see what you've got. So I can't take extra large, I can only take large right now, but we've got 2 in the AM. Then we've got 1 in the afternoon and 1 in the evening. That gives us a really good start. What I do want to do though is make sure that these planes are out by an hour of each other, just due to the fact that I do not want us having major issues. Oh, so I give them 2.5 hours. Yeah. I don't want to have major overcrowding if I have all my large planes landing at the same time. It's sort of like with the small planes issue as well. If I have every single plane arriving or leaving at the same time, it just causes us many problems. Also going to move that back 15 minutes. Because again, with 2 runways, we still can have a lot of collisions as well, which we don't want to have in the slightest. So that's the first morning flight sorted. Then we're going to go from... what, 10 AM? Is that a big enough gap? I mean, yeah, half an hour seems to be the go-to here, and let's extend that by half an hour there. That leads us into the afternoon, which again, there isn't a large gap, but that works like so. And then into the evening, we will have 1 flight there, which is cool. So we just need 1 more afternoon flight for now. And then I think we'll actually leave it at that, to be honest. We'll just see how the airports really can handle all of this. And then if it handles it okay, then we can get another plane in about 11 o'clock into that gate there, which would be easy enough. And again, I think some spacing's not perfect there, so we can go ahead and make the difference. What I am going to do right now is I'm going to start to pull some flights off of certain gates for the time being, just so I can go ahead and make this, I guess, schedule a little bit better. So what we're going to do is move you to there, move you up a bit, move you up a bit, like so, making sure we've still got plenty of room. And then we're actually going to move you into here, like so, move you up a bit, move you back a bit. Right, okay, so that's perfect. This is, the reason I'm doing this is because we're about to use the standby gate, or build a standby gate. So it means if there's a bit too much overlap, it means that we can handle it now. So we can have quite an intense schedule now, which is good going forward. Actually, let me go ahead and take one of these flights off of gate number 3 and move it down to gate number 5. Just because I do have a wee bit more flexibility on this gate in general. Let me grab... actually, no, that works out fine. Yeah, that works fine, that works fine. Right, okay, cool. So, yeah, it means now right now gate 1A is empty, but we can go ahead and refill that up, and it's all on the one gate at a certain time once we've built our standby gate, which is good. So gate B2 is good to go. That means we probably need to prioritize our standby gate now. So let's go ahead and build a large gate, which isn't coming up because it's in this menu here, and it's not in this menu here. Gate, right? So it's aircraft gate, and then it's that L. So you're going to go into here like so, and then what we'll do is we're going to be limited on room here, so the queues are not going to be as best as they possibly can, but this will work out nonetheless, and it means we can serve small and large. I realistically don't think we're going to have extra large flights coming in here, just because if you look at the size of the gate here, it's just not really feasible. Plus, with the current frame rate issues we're having anyway, it's just going to not make it any better, you know? So I think for now, unless this game, for example, brings out the performance patch really soon, and we can actually make use of it, then we're probably not going to see extra large gates. Okay, so let's go ahead and now build in this corner here. Can we expand this out any more at all? Yeah, we can, and we can by 1, and we're actually going to make use of that because this corner is going to be really tight in general. What I need to do now is I need to go ahead and upgrade this runway though. We need to make sure that it's actually usable in the evenings, which is good. So let's get in aircraft lights there like so, which is good. That'll take a bit of time. Oh, that's not worked. Why not? Oh, it's because I am being silly. Blocked by pending construction. Maybe it is working. Maybe it has worked. So let's also add in the approach system as well. Runway lights. So maybe only runway lights on one end right now. I don't know. I'll let the builders do what the builders do, and if I don't see any runway lights on there this evening, then we'll go ahead and sort that out. And then let's also get in our instrument landing system, which is cool. So that's gate D1 now built. What we're going to do is we're going to change this to the very maximum, Z and then 15. It's basically a gate that's not being used a lot. It's a special kind of gate, and that is why it is our standby gate. Now, if there are any coders out there, which there may be, a good example here is if, say for example, you have a function and it basically takes, what, 2 variables and you actually only need to use 1 variable, but you have to return both. When you return both, and you disregard the second variable, you'd usually just name that like underscore. That's sort of what this gate is, if that makes much sense. Again, if you're not into coding, then you probably won't understand, but it's basically useless until it's needed. If that's really bad analogy, to be honest. Let's just end that there, but that's pretty much what it is, to be honest. And it will help out as well with scheduling. It means that less planes are likely to be delayed, which is super useful. And it means going forward we hopefully can increase customer satisfaction, in all honesty. That's what I'd love to see. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, we've got slightly less room up here obviously, but what we're going to do is we're going to have gates upstairs and downstairs, just due to the fact that we can, and also if we do need to deal with a large flight, we are going to have to deal with some queuing issues, I suspect. So what I think we might do is we might actually only have 1 queue up and down, and we might have like the gate agent desk. I mean, that's got to be around the front, but we can add the queue and bring the queue right round here, for example. Or yeah, let's just have 1 queue, but let's have 2 desks. I think that is a good idea. That is a very good idea. So let's do our normal desks in there and in there. Then let's go ahead and add in our wonderful white flooring. I'm just trying to work out what space we've got here, because evidently we don't have a lot. So let's do that to there. Then let's move over. Yeah, this is going to be very stagnated. So what's going to happen is that's going to move over to there. Then, no, actually that needs to come along. You'll get what I'm doing in a second, like that, and then let's cancel that bit and that bit. So there we go, and then the queue is just going to wrap around here, basically. Though we can possibly extend it down. Actually, yeah, let's do something totally different here. Let's do that. Let's cancel that and that. You'll see what I'm doing shortly, honestly. Again, right now it does make no sense. But then we can have the queue come right down here. Yep, that's absolutely perfect. So if I go ahead and build the queue and show you what I'm really doing here. So let's go ahead and wrap this around here like so. I'm just basically trying to make as much use of this space as I possibly can. And as you can see, I have done that. I've gone ahead and basically made a slightly shorter queue than this, but in this space here, which is perfect. And then from that, what we can do is assign to these 2 desks, assign these desks to this queue here, and that works out perfect. So that's the downstairs sorted, which is good. Then what we'll do is we'll pretty much just do the same upstairs as well, in fact. and then that means if this gate is called into action, it is all good. We still need to actually set this gate to a standby gate, which will be fun to do, because from what I remember from when I previously played this game, it's not exactly the easiest thing to map out, but hopefully it's maybe changed or I won't struggle this time. Let's extend you to there. Again, I'm just trying to work this out in my head, what I just did. So let's do that to there. Let's do... yeah, perfect. Like so, and like so. Does that work? Doesn't look very elegant, but it will do the trick, which is good, and we remove that corner piece there. Right, so that does work there, and then finally, let's go ahead and finish this off. We will have to go ahead and sort out the floating up there in a second, but down, up, and then down. Absolutely beautiful. And there we go, voila, perfect. And that's the thing, we actually have restaurant up here as well, so it's a tiny bit different layouts. But it's pretty symmetrical, to be honest, which is wonderful. So we can go ahead and finish this off now. Let's go ahead and assign it to these two desks, assign these two desks to this queue. We should have enough staff to get this going already, to be honest. So what I need to do is I need to jump into here. I need to... from what I remember, I need to go into requires... oh, have we not done research on a standby gate? I'm pretty sure we have. Oh, we've not done that. Wow, okay. Quite surprised at that there then. So we need to actually do the research into that, which... can we, like, pause this, or... no, we can't. Well, that'll be done by the next episode, and then we can pretty much just commission that gate straight off the bat, which is perfect. And then we also should have action in this gate here now at B2, but for some reason we don't. Did I do something wrong? B2. We've maybe actually just not got to that day yet, you know that. It might still be the same day. I can't really remember, to be honest. Or are flights getting cancelled? We can check if flights are getting cancelled here. So if we go into the flight status... oh, we missed a flight. We missed a few flights today, actually, which isn't good. A5 seems to be quite a problem. What's wrong? Is there anything in particular wrong with A5? Not really. Is that the gate which I've now gone ahead and moved lots of other flights into? Not really either, to be honest. It's got quite an easy schedule. That's incredibly strange. We'll see if that continues on to tomorrow anyway. But yeah, there's nothing in here for B2 yet. So we've obviously just not finished this incredibly long day. So as of tomorrow, that'll be into action, which is good. And yeah, again, another plane has been cancelled. I think this plane is stuck here, isn't it? So let's break the deadlock. Forced departure. I think it'd been there for too long. I think that plane had been there for over 1,000 minutes from what I just seen in the corner of my eye. So that was the issue. And again, that would have, the standby gate would have resolved our problem perfectly there, instead of having lots of issues. So I'm not really at all sure why that was. Let's very quickly go ahead and add in 2 more baggage cars into here, just because obviously now we've got a lot more gates in action. And then with that, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps up this episode. We've got a lot done in terms of our actual plan going forward and our services, but in terms of actual progress, I feel we didn't get as much building done as we really should have. So in the next episode, we'll be able to really crack on and go ahead, and I want to change the entrance to the airport in the next episodes. And then I also want to go ahead and try fill up this airport a bit more and open a new restaurant. That's what we'll do. So, hope you can join me in the next episode. Please leave this video a like, rating, subscribe if you are new around here. Go down into that description, go ahead and join my new Discord, follow me on Twitter, and support me on Patreon. And that's all, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Bigfoot, and I'm out.